Alright, so today I'm not here to dunk on conservatives, but we are going to dunk on some people. We're going to dunk on really dumb online people, usually on the left, about electoralism. Now, if you are part of the online sphere of politics, you've seen this sentiment of voting doesn't work. Or like, what's the quote? The quote goes like, it's like, if voting actually did anything, they'd make it illegal. No. Okay. First of all, there's a real quick way to debunk that. If that were the case, why would they have tried to keep people from being able to vote previously? Like, why was it a big deal that they didn't want women to vote or they didn't want black people to vote? Yada yada. You know, that wouldn't have been important to gatekeep voting if voting didn't do anything. So for one, you're just wrong there. Obviously, it can do something, or else they wouldn't have made it illegal for some people at one point, right? Second, the second thing I see a lot, this has to do a lot with Biden, and this is frustrating because I'm so tired of shilling for Biden. I think Biden is the best option, but at the end of the day, I'm a Marxist. I want something further than that, but I've been having to shill for him because I think our chances of getting our things, the things that we want done, are going to be easier to get done under Biden, and Biden's going to actively make things better than what Trump is currently doing, right? I don't even think Biden is the lesser of two evils. I think he's a slight improvement of what we have now. So he's a good. He's just not good enough. But this is basically where this is all coming from. It's all from this election, all this spread of anti-electoralism, and I think it's dumb. And a few things you'll see is like one, like I just said, the making voting illegal. Well, hey, buddy, it was. Next one is people often talk about how politicians can say whatever, but they don't do whatever. Like they'll say, "Oh, we're gonna make healthcare better," or "I'm gonna try to make college free," and then they never give in on that. They just say that to get voted in. This could be true. There are probably moments where politicians lie to get into office. I mean, that's what being a politician kind of is. You're trying to sell yourself, right? But luckily, we have a lovely study that was done here. It's beautiful. I mean, I think it's like an article, but the study is here, which is what's important. So when a politician does promise something, it seems, if we look here at the average of how often they keep their promises, they keep 67% of their promises on average. That's over half. And at the lowest point, it was still over half. And at the highest point, it was 80. So it's a pretty safe bet. It's about 70%. It's a good bet that they are going to keep their promises and pass what they said they were. So that argument is there is no real argument there. When we look at the data, that just isn't the case. Politicians tend to do what they say they're going to do. Yeah, so that there's no argument there. Now the next argument will be, doesn't matter who we want, the DNC or the establishment will pick whoever they want. No. Okay? And a lot of people say this because they think Bernie Sanders should have been the nominee and he got rigged out of it. This just isn't the case. Okay? If we look at voting numbers and how many people actually turn up to vote, not enough people vote. And the people who do vote are in the age range and the right what's the term for a group of people? I cannot think at the moment. But there's the group of people that actually go to the polls tend to be more conservative or like milquetoast neoliberal. The people who like support Bernie Sanders didn't go vote. We have insane really bad voter turnout. Like I'm talking like I think maybe like a little over half the population goes and votes. And I think that may even just be out of registered voters, not including the ones who are unregistered. So the problem isn't that the establishment picks someone, it doesn't matter who you pick. That's not the case. You don't vote. And then pushing this anti-electoralism continues making people not vote. So then, of course, you're going to end up with the results that you should expect from not voting, because the people who do go vote are the people who are going to want Biden in office or are going to want some conservative in office because you don't go vote. And then you having this mentality reinforces that, okay? So, one, there is no argument for the stupid, if voting worked, it'd be illegal, because obviously it does, because it was illegal. Two, politicians do keep up on their promises. We can see that. We have data to support that. Three, the reason why we don't get the people we want on the left over here is because, one, we're kind of a small demographic. That's the word. Oh my God, demographic. We are a small demographic. And even though we can use populist rhetoric to get other people who aren't like necessarily leftist to vote left, those people don't usually go vote, and half of us don't go vote. So the problem is voter turnout. It's not the establishment picking whoever they want. And now the next argument, the one that I think is probably the least thought out, is the direct action meme. It's this we shouldn't focus our resources on getting people to vote for, say, Biden. We should focus on our resources on direct action. Okay, I think direct action's good, but what do you think direct action is? And half the time, they don't know what they think direct action is. Like, they don't know what you would do for direct action. Maybe like protest, but it's like, okay. The problem is, if I go protest and the people in office aren't people I can convince with a protest to do what I want, they won't do it. Okay? You have to have the right people in office to bully them to do what you want. So, an example would be under Trump. If I want to pass some sort of environmental regulation, it's less likely going to happen under Trump. He is definitely supporting that industry. Now, under Biden, he has some environmental plans. He's probably a little easier to push over on that, on more of what we want. So, this direct action meme is like, sure, you should do direct action, but your direct action becomes more effective depending on who's in office that you're trying to make do things. Okay? So if I have a crypto-fascist or a proto-fascist or a legit fascist in office, whatever you want to call him, it's going to be a lot harder to convince him to put anything at all slight left. Like, he's not going to put anything slight left into like legislation or push for that or anything like that, right? He's not going to do anything like that. Now, if you take a milquetoast neoliberal like Joe Biden, who's already been influenced by Bernie Sanders in some regards, he's a lot easier to convince to move over that direction, which makes your direct action way more effective. So, voting helps direct action. So yes, do direct action, but vote to make your direct action more efficient. I've said direct action like 40 fucking times. And another thing is, I think voting in itself is a sort of direct action. You're directly affecting the government. You're affecting who's in there. You're affecting what policies are now going to be discussed and what policies could possibly be passed and what people you get to bully to most likely do what you're going to do. You're not going to get the perfect candidate. It's never going to happen, but you're going to get someone that you can at least have a better chance of getting to do what you want than someone else. You can always do that. So part of voting, part of direct action should be to vote to have the people who are going to be more receptive to your direct action. Yeah, it makes so much sense. And the problem with this anti-electoralist thing is, if you ask these people what they plan to do instead of vote, and I'm not saying voting is everything. Obviously not. I just talked about how, yeah, we should do direct action and things like that. We should protest. We should do all of these good things. But if you don't vote, you're kind of just sitting in an armchair, right? You're literally being an armchair leftist. Because it doesn't matter if you protest. Like, if you go protest BLM, but you have fascists in the government, they're not going to care. They're going to mow you over with the police. We've seen that. Now, if you have a milquetoast liberal and you protest BLM, hey, guess what? You may get some reform, all right? And I know, like, for some reason some of these people are anti-reformist and they just want revolution. But hey, buddy, we're nowhere close to that, all right? No one in America really wants to do revolution, but you and your liar be friends. All right, if I go ask any family anywhere, hey man, we're going to make things better, but you have to risk your life and your family's life to do so. No one is going to do that. So stop fucking thinking that. It's dumb. And it isn't going to happen. Revolution is nowhere near. It may never happen at all. So what you need to focus on is making things better how you can. And if you enjoy the feeling of protesting and feeling like you're liberating people or whatever, great, do that. But make sure the people who are in office are going to actually react to that and actually do good things because of that. Because if you don't, your actions are futile. They're not going to change anything. They were pointless. Like there's just you have to have the right people in office when you protest if you want them to be effective. So direct action, voting is a part of direct action, all right? I don't want to hear this dichotomy between direct action and voting. They're one and the same, all right? They work together. So yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say on this topic other than the people who are saying this are acting like hyper woke. Like I hate using virtue signaling because it's such like a right-wing meme, but it kind of is. It's kind of like, I am more left than you, so I'm going to vote. But in reality, you aren't doing anything. You're doing less than the people who are going to go vote. Let me tell you what, that milquetoast liberal who's going to go vote Biden on November 3rd is doing more than you sitting in your fucking, like, parents' fucking basement complaining about how everything's bad and how you refuse to vote and revolution or some bullshit. That person has done more than you. That shouldn't be the case. If you were truly a revolutionary, you'd be doing everything in your power, and that includes voting. Because voting actually changes things. I mean, I just pulled up the thing that showed that politicians actually keep up, like, actually do what they promise. So if we get people in office who promise things that we like, those things are most likely going to get done. At least like 70% of them, which is amazing. So this idea that voting is bad, it's dumb. There's nothing that founds it other than people trying to outwoke one another and saying, I am too woke to vote. And I hate using woke too because it sounds so right-wing, but it's true. I mean, it's just pathetic. Okay? Now, I don't think everything ends at voting. I've already stated that. But voting is important to the rest of these things. Okay? It's super important. I think that's all I have to say on that. I hope this was at least interesting. Please go vote. Obviously do direct action, and whatnot. But please, just go vote, okay? Actually, I had one more point I wanted to make before I dipped out of here. One of the things I see a lot is people complaining that, for instance, Biden's a liberal and they're not ideologically aligned. They're a socialist and Biden's liberal. And what I have to say to these people is, why did you support Bernie? Sure, he calls himself a democratic socialist, but if you're an actual socialist, you understand that he's a social democrat, right? So why would you support Bernie Sanders? Because he was closer to you, but then not support Joe Biden because he's closer to you? That's logically inconsistent. And we're not getting socialism tomorrow. So why wouldn't you do what you possibly can to make things slightly better and make the chances of socialism coming into being even higher? Okay? Just want you to think about that. And when you think about it hard enough, go vote Biden, okay? Because we need him in office if we ever want to bring about the changes that we want. Okay, now I'm done. That's all I have to say. Take it easy, dudes.